You're like DOS.
Temperament?
You're like DOS. Shaco top pick at the moment. He's like, no research or anything. All right, what do? You give him the basic outline of it. He'll play it 3 times. He'll go 0-50 and he'll go, don't think it's very good. And will not have changed temperament at all.
He's a good boy. He's a good boy. All right, anything else you want to add for that one?
Rough for gravitas. That's one of those ones where you're on the swing. You're like, trust me, you get the momentum building.
Because there's been buzz in here from those boys over the last couple of
absolutely.
weeks.
And then you just get clobbered and you're like...
Yeah, that wasn't a loss, and there was nothing good to look at from it.
Yeah.
You just feel so outclassed in a game like that, and that really shakes you.
I always say that your wins are never as good as you think they are, though, and your losses are never as bad as you think they are as well. In saying that, that one was pretty bad.
That was, Is there something to be said, and I don't know, like that a loss that hard is kind of like, oh, we just kind of like messed up straight from the beginning. It's not as demoralizing as something where it's like, oh, it feels like we got ground out against.
Nah, that's like we lost in every single roll.
Yep.
Simultaneous. Like, do you know how I was saying yesterday when like you get dove? Like,
bottom,
that's like that, but it happened in every lane.
Yeah.
When Tien got that 1v3 and I said he brought them all to retirement, like that's only a half joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it actually, you still really feel that.
And when you're like, when you know they're hitting Baron, and you can't do anything about them hitting Baron, you're just like...
12,000 HP of sads.
Wrap it up. Get me back on the blade.
All right, well, we'll get Decoy in here one day. I've got a bunch of paper here. I never actually figured out how to finish the cube.
Right.
So
we're on track.
Pulse? Wasn't that... oh, no, I'm orange. Pulse.
All right.
Bring us home before we start the Ask Nick Boy seg.
Okay. Yeah, we're very close now. So what you guys should have is the rupee.
Yep.
Right?
Oh, yours is so neat.
And then you're going to bring the...
60 scarabs, 20. Oh.
You're going to find... So you basically have like an open... Jesus Christ.
Hopefully people get that. If they don't, I'm very disappointed.
Um,
Continue. Sorry, you have a rupee.
Right,
You know what that's
right.
from?
Huh?
Anyway, continue. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm derailing.
So you have your open side, which should be the top side, basically a side that you can fold because the bottom should be entirely like intact, right?
Yep.
And then you're going to bring down these corners.
Oh, sure.
So
I missed
you kind of
this
create like a little
Where's the
square,
open
right?
side?
Sort of
Oh, there.
something
Like
like that.
Which corners?
You know
Pulse. Like,
I
this.
don't want to fold something controversial again.
what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to meet that line that you've created with the last fold, right?
We are getting a cube.
I've only got...
Is it like that?
Oh, yeah.
From both sides?
Yeah, right? Yeah. Like
I've got
that.
one on each
Like
side.
back
Is
to
that right?
Copy Jake. Huh?
Back to front? Like I've done this side, now I do the back?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you do all 4 again.
4.
There's 4. I only have...
I only have
No,
two.
flip it over. Flip it over. Little flipperoo.
And on the other side, you should
Wait, you
have...
mean... Wait, what?
Oh,
So you had this. This is
fancy
my
man.
belief. This is my current belief. You have this.
Yep.
And then you fold 1,
Yep.
2,
Okay.
flip it around, 3,
But
4.
I don't have
That's
those.
not
Yeah.
how
You don't
mine
have those?
works.
Flip it like this.
Bryce,
No, Bryce,
you're not
y-
listening.
We have 0 spare flaps.
Well,
I understand exactly what you're saying, and you're
I
not
can't
listening.
Bryce, I don't really understand. There is
Hold on.
4.
I'm getting up.
okay. See you later. This is my desk.
Someone give me scissors and I can easily get those folds in.
Origami.
What have I done? So I think I'm in the same situation as Jake. I've only got 2 little danglers. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying, man. You know, I'm moving house at the moment. I got a stack of boxes. I could just bring them in if you're short.
Can you box origami? Like, are they too...
Like moving box origami.
They're too dense.
Well, it's technically like paper. I've seen people open beer bottles with paper. So with enough folds, anything's possible.
Everything has come
Oh
undone.
God,
now.
you're
I
doing
feel
the
like
whole
if you
thing.
make enough like little boxes, you could like fill your packing boxes and use it as like what's it called? Like packing paper? Like
yeah,
like
packing
the
peanuts.
peanuts.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
throw
For
in
sure,
origami
for
boxes.
sure. Chat just got freaked out by how small the room is because it was like it's magic.
Ruin the immersion, I'm sorry.
Okay. Have you got it?
Yeah, so you folded like everything one way.
That's what you said to do.
No.
No, you said everything every way,
Jake and I were
basically.
clearly.
You need to fix mine as well.
Dad!
No, what happened with
No, he's
The
got
exact
problem
same
as
thing
me.
as Nick's.
I'm just gonna fold these down. While we're doing this,
Can you answer some questions?
well, yeah, we should. But also, we got sent a picture, 2 pictures. This came in from. Let me just get this from Bagulstern. 84 post-it notes and some highlighters. That's 14 cubes woven together. There.
Oh.
Post-it
Very
notes.
impressive. So post-it notes and highlighters.
Sick.
And a rose he made for his wife and scented with some perfume. I'm obviously not the rose. That's the rose. Pretty impressive.
All right,
is
cool.
very
Now we're up to this stage.
Okay, so what do we do? I folded everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Okay, we're good?
Yep.
All right, so
folded.
then this triangle that you've created, so you've basically created an extra triangle, right, that goes up against along of this edge that we created.
Yep.
And then you fold that down on itself. So you basically have gone back to only having triangles at the side.
Oh, yes. Oh, fancy. Like this.
Yeah.
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 And repeat that for all 4 of the corners.
Yes, I will, Pulse. I will. 3.
All I can think about is Star Fox quotes. And nobody in the room gets it.
No, I'm getting them.
Why?
It's
Yeah.
fine. I'm loving all
Yeah.
these like old game references you're bringing out.
That's too low.
Okay.
And then with the crease that we've made, now this is probably like the most difficult to explain, but with this triangle that we've made on the side, you can create a small pocket. So just open it up. So you
Yep.
kind of made a small pocket, and then you're going to fold this triangle that we've made just above that line into it. And it should be pretty easy because you've created a crease.
Like that?
What? What am I doing?
Nah.
So you see this?
Nah, dude, that
can
wasn't
open this up.
English.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
Wait.
What
Yes, you can
pocket?
open this
What?
up. So
Do
unfold
I-
this. And here. and here.
Like this?
Yeah, okay.
Right.
Wait, show me one more time.
So we folded this down, right?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
then we unfold this because this was just a crease that we were creating.
Yep.
So unfold that valley fold,
Uh-huh.
and then you're going to create a pocket in the side here. So you should be able to open this up. This side triangle.
Yes.
Yeah. And then repeat all 4. Have you got it?
Sure.
Absolutely, man.
I think he means that. I think he mean. Do you mean that?
Yeah.
That.
And then put that triangle in.
Where is
and then fold
where is that?
in there.
Where is
so,
that?
So it's that, right? So this is how we were folded like that. We
Yeah.
open that bad boy.
Yeah.
And then you take, and then you
Oh.
lift that, and
Oh,
hello,
There's a
a
pocket.
cheeky little.
And what triangle? The triangle goes in?
And then
Yes.
the one that we lifted to expose the pocket gets tucked in.
And do they
Yep.
all the
All 4
triangles
go
get
in.
tucked in?
All the triangles go into,
Oh,
the,
you
into the
done
big
well.
triangles.
Okay, Chad, I can't decide whether or not this was the best
haven't
segment
you
or the
done
worst
well?
segment to do. I'm sure
Davies
you'll
with the
let us know.
boys.
This was meant to be a race.
We haven't even got one.
2 seconds
Yeah.
to
Well,
get to the.
I'm
first
all
all
I'm
tucked
saying
in. I'm
is
ready for
a
bed.
bad teacher blames his students.
That's
So.
I'm
Right.
not blaming anybody. Okay. No, they're good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And
All
then
right,
it's
we're all
tucked
tucked
away.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then for the final bit, you're just going to blow into the hole. And it should...
Go, blow into what?
Okay, we're going to make this easier, though, because I think some of the folds have been a little, like, not sharp. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in to create a full square. So this top and the bottom. And this is just a
Holy
crease that
shit.
will make blowing into it easier. So,
Just fold.
yeah, just fold it into the
Where are you
center.
blowing?
Into the top.
Little
There's a
top.
hole.
The hole?
And it's going to
Oh.
make it just a little easier, just because I think some of the folds have not been super sharp.
And then I fold it out again and then do it or what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is that what it is?
This is just like an...
This is baby steps.
Yeah. I'm going to do this away from my microphone.
Okay, so we've done one.
It's not very structurally sound, but it is a cube.
Yours is nice. Oh, Rusty's is
I got
good
nothing.
too.
Mine's just
It's getting
sad.
there.
Bryce?
No.
No, you have. Yeah, interesting.
Pulse, is that what it's supposed to look like?
Oh.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like a
just
cube
like
to
that.
me, Spawn. Well done.
It's not very structurally sound though. Like I'm
Yeah.
not building a house out of
Yeah,
this.
I have a
Oh my God!
Round
Pulse,
cube.
throw me yours.
Hold on.
It's just not working.
Now, how quickly could you actually make that?
Like, relatively quickly, I think.
That's crazy.
I
That's
got nothing.
wild. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna start the Ask Nick voice, and we'll try to remember the 4,000 steps to get us to 1 cube, and we'll see how it goes over the rest of the night.
yeah.
The first question comes in from Aurora Litchfield,
Cool name.
Hi, Aurora.
who says, I started a new job in a small office of about 15 people this week, and I don't think any of them even play video games. How the hell do I relate to them?
You wanted these.
Yeah. All right. So this is a tough one. So you have 2 options.
Yeah.
You either have to be able to
Quit.
relate their personal experiences to your video games,
Yep.
then have an emotional response to how would you feel about the video game, and then translate that back into a real life situation, right? I'll give you an example. The other night, me and my friends went out and we kicked the football.
Yep.
But then, for some reason, the football popped on the road, and then we were all very sad.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Obviously, I don't play football, so I can't really sympathize with that.
No.
But then, what I can think of is, I was playing TFT with Bryce,
Yep.
and I needed a item to make my Tristana a Blade Master. It appeared on the dragon, but then the dragon killed us, and we're all very sad.
Yep.
So then, there is like a one-to-one correlation between this. So one thing that we were all getting enjoyment out of is now ruined. Bryce and I were sad in a social environment. They were sad in their social environment. And then you can be like, oh yeah, that's not great.
That
And
makes...
that will allow you to
Yeah,
be
the
a
team-
part of it.
Yeah.
The other option you have is just leave the job.
Yeah. Just get out now.
You kind
while
of
the going's
ruined
good.
my joke by going with like
so
the immediate
sorry. I
thing.
thought you
'cause,
had
yeah.
actual-
No, that's
I'm
all
so
right.
sorry.
So stuff you knew.
I mean, you've got a third option, which is just develop literally any other interest that you
No,
can talk to someone
actually, that's
about.
not true.
But what if you like the job?
What if you like the job?
Well, I'm sure there's more of the one
Then
than
when
one of the jobs.
You just like walk into the office in the morning and you gotta pretend. You have to assimilate, right? So you walk
No,
in.
you don't.
And
That
it's
is
just
the
like,
worst
how do you
advice
do,
ever.
fellow normie? And then
No.
How do you do, fellow Normie?
you go on your
Tits
merry
fedora.
way.
I
Yeah.
feel like this is a prime opportunity.
This is
to
how
get
you
these
tell
people-
Bryce has never had a job outside of video games. Because he's like, yeah, this is what you do. In all my experience as a pro League of Legends player into a commentator, this is how I would assimilate in a full-time job.
This is the moment
Idiot
that
Brian.
you need to get your co-workers into video games. This is the chance.
I was going to say, because you don't have to necessarily quit. You can get them all fired.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. You could you could hide a bunch of stuff in their lockers if you've got lockers
Or
there.
you become no. So
contraband.
I wouldn't even do it that way. You got to go the longer con, right? So what you do is you use all the skills that we get from video games that make us the superior people in the world,
Snake 100.
and then you become their boss, and then you fire them.
Oh, that's
and
good.
then when they ask for the reason, you say, "Well, you should have played some more League of Legends."
Yeah,
I was gonna
but
say
also I would
Path of
definitely-
Exile, but, probably not appropriate. so
I definitely
League of
wouldn't
Legends.
say that to them as well because you could probably get sued for that.
Company
but
gets sued. You're not going to personally get sued unless it's your business.
just let them watch NPL and they can learn League of Legends alongside me. I feel like that's the ultimate.
Is anyone really learning League of Legends in MPL?
Well, I think I'm learning a little bit. Okay, well, so far I've managed to make a triangle and I've been doing this for about 4 minutes. Next game.
Oh, next game.
It's a
We only
biggie.
got one question.
Yeah, well, we spent a lot of time blowing into cubes. Mammoth versus Bombers.
Doing what?
Blowing into cubes.
We did. We did.
Mammoth versus Bombers. We're heading into the Max Champs League. This is a big one. The fight out for second place. Pulse, take it away.
Thank you. And yeah, this should be the second banger of the weekend. I should press you. I've got the banger button right next to me. That's a missed opportunity. Yeah, Mammoth versus Bombers. I mean, yesterday it was also Mammoth versus the Chiefs. So Mammoth part of both of the big games on this weekend. And yeah, Mammoth, see if they can recover after yesterday's loss. I mean, to be honest, this is like both of their difficult games stacked into one weekend. Into the
Yes.
Chiefs, then following up into Bombers.
100%, right? And I don't want to spend this game talking about the Chiefs, but when you were going into yesterday's, like
It's part of
Mammoth
the conversation.
versus Chief, it's like you've looked at who they played. They beat a Legacy, they beat an AV, and then they go up into Mammoth. And you didn't quite expect them to get smacked as hard as they did in the way they did, right? It was a very early lead, snowballed all over the map, and we've been saying for a while that Raze has been searching for an opponent, and King and Destiny definitely didn't stand up yesterday. So going up against Bombers, they have both lost a game this weekend. Of course, there was an upset victory, not according to Jake, where Order took down the Bombers, and then, of course, the game we already have mentioned. So both of these top dogs coming off a loss into facing each other. Tensions riding high, and we'll be interested to see how they do bounce back this weekend.
Yeah, and it's interesting you say, like, you know, King and Destiny didn't stack up, because when I look at King and Destiny, I look at one of the best lanes in
100%.
the OPL, right? But then you're playing into the other one of the best lanes in the OPL, and yeah, in that case, it didn't stack up. But into everybody else, you're looking at, like, a top 2 bottom lane for sure. Mammoth banning away the Talia, the Akali, and the Aurelia. Going to have Bombers taking away Yumi, Corki, and Vladimir. And it's going to be first pick Karma, so a lot more priority in the Karma this game than we've seen probably throughout the rest of the day, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen some Karma picks, but not quite this early, so he's kind of curious. Things that stand out to me in the band so far, of course, even in their loss yesterday, Ryoma was absolutely popping off on the Akali. Some people were questioning, like, the build towards the end. Didn't have a Zhonya's up against anything like that, but he was kind of a one-man army in that show, and that's going to be a very early lock-in of the knock-up duo.
Yeah.
Yasuo Gragas, you just fling a cask, Yasuo lands on top, and if you want it engaged, that's some guaranteed, very reliable stuff they got for themselves.
I mean, this is a declaration of intent, right? Like, sometimes you'll see, like, a Yasuo early and then nothing, and then it's just like, okay, is this just this one
Is he
pick?
going to
and then,
side
are we gonna build
lane?
this?
Is he
Yeah,
going to be
exactly.
like, yeah.
You know? Or you have the setup to a Yasuo, and it's like, oh, they won't they? But yeah, I mean, this is just like, this is now a Yasuo composition. Now build around us. Mammoth looking towards the Azir now, you know, like, not a big surprise given that triple's here. But yeah, we'll see what Mammoth now build with this knowledge and whether they change what they were initially going to go for.
Yeah, and already you can kind of piece together the pieces of information that you get from different teams. Like Ray's in the interview yesterday is like, we've identified Mammoth never want to get outscaled, like, right?
Yeah.
And then you see like a Yasuo Gragas lock in very early bombers. They can play this game quickly with what they've set themselves up with in the first 2 picks. And then it's an Azir answer. First pick Karma. They have so much range, so much disengage when you lock into Tahm Kench to pair with what will be like a big hyper carry in the Azir and the Karma to shield whatever AD carry choice they want to go into. So yeah, Mammoth certainly going back to the style where they have seen some success, right? During the first start of the split, it was like, yeah, early game doesn't go the best, but who really cares if you just turn around and win the end game? That was a squeal from Jake. I believe he's created his own box.
He's made the perfect cube. He's being very happy about it.
Nice, he's got 2. He's done it.
Nick Boy doesn't know what he's doing. Well, luckily, Bombers do. That was a great shot. Camille pick up here from the Bombers. They're going to fall with a Varus ban actually here towards Mammoth.
Yeah, which is interesting. But King has been one of the best Varuses in the OPL for a very long time. I always liken it to like the flash ulti from him is much scarier than any other AD carry. He pulls the trigger very quickly, so it does make sense. Also important to note as well, hasn't been talked about as of yet, but Topoon on your screen right now is on the roster here again for Mammoth. We haven't seen Fudge all weekend. It was interesting to see him get back on the bandwagon. Unfortunately, lost his 100% win rate in the OPL. Topoon had it.
True.
Tien was the other one. I saw him tweeting about it last night, and with Chief's victory, he's going to retain that lead. So one man in the OPL has that 100% win rate, and it is the Red Demon.
Yeah, takes it away from his competitor as well. You know, what a way to do it, right?
Sniped it.
Yeah. Ash as well. I mean, like, keep in mind that Tahm Kench was also picked up, so we will also see most likely a solo lane Karma right here.
Yeah.
So, yeah. By the way, just because we didn't mention it. Yeah, Ash and Varus banned away from that Tahm Kench combo. Braum ban here towards Bombers, and have also actually taken another knockup away in the form of the Rakan.
Yeah, it does make sense, right? You could go for like a Xayah Rakan, and then you have knockups galore, Camille, Yasuo, like the great, like every single lane has the ability to set the Yasuo up. I like the double utility AD carry bans here into King. Not just because of him as an individual player, but when you look at the comp, there's just 0 CC locked in so far, right? Like, yes, Tahm has a stun if he gets 3 auto attacks and a tongue lash as well, but they have no reliable setup. I'm expecting this to maybe be like a Sejuani, a big tanky jungler. I think Babip actually played the Zac yesterday, so it could be that sort of jungler as well, because they need some form of button, some form of frontline to get things started when they do pull the trigger, and I'm expecting him to be on the reins there.
Yeah, by the way, Thresh just locked in, you know, just quietly. Yeah, so haven't seen the Thresh so far in the OPL, at least while I've been here. And yeah, it's going to be into the Tahm Kench, so going to be fishing for some hooks. We've also had an Ezreal lock-in from Mammoth, so pretty much got our bottom lane here.
And this is absolutely a confidence pick, right? Like, Thresh into Tahm Kench, like, he is one of the counters. Like, in lane, it's fine, you have Flay, yada yada, but if people get hooked, you just get to devour them out of the CC, and then they are fine. And is it like super reliable engage? But even then, you go up against super long-range compositions. Thresh's, like, in terms of him roaming, ganking the mid lane, the champions that are scary are like the Azir, the Cassio, the ones that have that range advantage, and if you miss, you get immediately punished.
Yeah.
Mammoth have such a big range advantage, and Rogue just feeling very confident here. I mentioned the Cassio, that may just be the lock-in for Luch, so this is a composition.
Yes, it is. Final pick there as well. Jarvan into the jungle here for Mammoth. And yeah, I mean, like, this is not a composition that you can just kind of autopilot, you know, if you're Bombers, right? Like, you don't go in and you're just like, today I'm going to play Yasuo, and we're going to have Thresh, Cassiopeia bottom lane. Like, you have to actively be thinking about what you're doing, how you're communicating, and how you're coordinating with your allies at, like, all points in time. Otherwise, it just falls apart.
And they do, at the end of the day, have like every base somewhat covered. They do have sustained AD damage with the Yasuo. He does scale very well. And normally when you look at like a mage on the bottom side, it's like you miss that sustained damage in the late game. Yes, not going to have the range of like a Caitlyn or whack a turret, but certainly do have the damage threat. On the other side, looking at the split up here, Mammoth, they do have a fairly heavy magic damage top side of the map. I expect maybe Babbitt to go into the cleaver on the Jarvan just to kind of bolster that up a little bit. King does have variance in his build if he wants to go more AP with the Ludens, the Sorks. We have actually seen recently, like this weekend, a couple of Ezreals. I think Katsuri, I think Raid going for the straight up like 80 carry CDR Bork build. And yeah, they do have flexibility, but yeah, definitely top of the table clash and some differing styles here going into the third game of the day.
Yeah, and I would call it a top of the table clash right now, given the Bombers' trajectory. And joining us, speaking of Bombers, it's Lucio doing a bit of a pivot. How are you doing today, Soul Strikes?
Well, I had all 5 bans, so that's good.
Fair, yeah. How was that planning around, not having bans? Because we heard one side of it, and it was just like, it's great knowing that your opponents didn't have bans, but how is it playing around that for you?
Well, to be honest, like, we sort of expected, like, what their first 3 pickers, but it really shows, like, we ran out of, like, a lot of bans, like, we wanted to ban, like, X things and Y things, but, yeah, it's just, it just sucks, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, and in the long term, does that kind of thing in a weird way help? Where like, what you're kind of alluding to is like, it just showed you plain and simply like what you somewhat rely on. You're like, oh, we wanted to be able to ban X and Y and like they're sort of crutch things. Is that something you're going to take forward?
Not necessarily. I think it also, like Choo Choo said yesterday, it was like their best comp, so now everyone knows. Just ban those. So, yeah, just tip out there for other teams. But yeah, so like, yeah, bans are nice.
Okay, and that's even like another point to hit on. Do you listen back to all the coach interviews and go back to see what they've said on broadcast?
Yeah, I actually do.
That's actually yeah, I never thought about that. That's a very valuable resource.
So watch our mouth.
Yeah, now every question I'm going to ask is just like, these are going to get
So tell us exactly how your team works and why.
So we have a very strong top side, and we have Cassio. So they should, but yeah, they're invading. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it does change things, and I mean, obviously it will be pretty much on how this play works out here as Mimic's coming down from that top lane. Wilder is going to come down to essentially a smite battle here as the auto-attacks coming in from Tarpoon. It comes the flag and it will go over to Babbitt. Mimic also just passing through both of these players into the top lane. It's going to be a little bit awkward. This is multiple auto-attacks, turns around the tactical sweep and will get out of there. But yeah, so that definitely changes the dynamic of the game here, Soul Strikes.
Yeah, because Gragas is a very slow starter and him not getting level 2, it's kind of both ways. Jarvan gets very low when he's doing his first jungle route, so but us losing Smite Battle really hurts us.
Yeah, it certainly does. And I want to ask you about the bottom lane matchup. The Thresh pick in here, for me, was kind of curious. And at that point of the draft, we hadn't seen the Cassio or what like you rounded out the bottom side of the map is. But looking at it, it was like into an Azir, into a Tahm Kench. Was this just like confidence from Rogue and maybe some of the old Sin Rogue that we haven't seen for a while, just busting out the Thresh?
So we're week 8 into OPL, and I strongly believe like each team should know what their strengths and weaknesses are within the team. And Luch, obviously being a former mid laner, and I always believe Rogue's Thresh is one of his best picks. So I'm just giving comfort pick for my players.
Cool.
Awesome. Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your time as always, and we'll catch you later.
Thank you.
Always feels nice to play a comfortable champion.
Yeah. Always feels nice to know exactly what your opponent's strengths and weaknesses are and what to ban.
Yeah. I like that Lucio just didn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so tell us exactly how your thing works and why.
He's like, yep, like, all right, here we go.
He kind of got denied. All the other coaches are now out there just like, oh, what was he going to say? And then the invade happens. They're like, no! Babbitt, get out! Just leave the red
we beat the Bombers.
We need this.
The worst cliffhanger. Top lane 2 versus 1. Tarpoon tries to move through the tri-bush. Catches him on the body slam, Wilder, for first blood.
Yeah, it didn't even need the flash, but burns it anyway. And yeah, starting this one off, loses his red buff, but first gank success. Hugely impactful. You can see the CS, right? Karma versus a Camille that got conquer it in the head multiple times by a Jarvan, and the wave is just being pushed in. A very rough early start to this one, 6-18. So getting the assist, getting the reset in the wave position that it is already, and having Wilder come up and help certainly feels nice. So once again, the Korean import duo here for the Bombers, making some work of the early stages.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret top side of the map for Bomber is always going to be a big deal for them. And yeah, I also want to like talk about the fact that like this is very much the top of the table of the clash, right? Like you don't look at the scoreline for Bombers right now, but it's opening up very quickly, you know, and it has just been consistently so. Bombers is just a team who we look at and it's just like you put in the same category as Mammoth, as Chiefs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even if it's like they don't catch them by the end of the split, then looking at the standings, do they play in Gauntlet? This is going to be a precursor in terms of form. Because you do have like 3 cracks at a team. Oh, it's going to land. There's the matchup, going to get devoured, be completely fine. But it is kind of like the first time they played each other at the start of the split with roster changes. That doesn't really hold any weight once you get to Gauntlet. But this is, as Soul Strikes was mentioning, like at this point of the season, if you don't have a clear identity on what you're good at as a team, then you're already behind the pack, right? This is teams looking to ramp up before the end of the split and yeah, see how these two face off.
Yep, Mimic into top lane. Yeah, just farming up pretty much. Has the Kleptomancy on Camille. This is a Kleptomancy lane just straight up, so going to be farming from here on out, trying to catch up just a little bit, but not doing too bad. And yeah, generally pretty good start for the Bombers right here. And I think stylistically, will just be a very interesting game, right? Like I think for Mammoth, it's like it's always about just getting to those team fights, getting to like mid game, late game, and then you know stall out, go for team fight, win game, right? Like very stock standard. Bombers at the same time though, like I think the declaration of what they picked up very early into Champion Select, like trying to challenge that and you know maybe win a little bit earlier, especially with like a Thresh pick coming out here as well. Like how much work can you know these individual picks do?
Yeah, because you're already seeing some of what the draft told us come to fruition. The Jarvan gets the early invade, takes away from the Gragas, but then Wilder, because he goes like top side, loses his red buff, goes back bot side because he just needs to farm some camps, he's a jungler, and then immediately travels back top. Babip has a reasonable lead right now, right? Like he's a camp probably 2 up after he finishes the Raptors, and then like Yasuo level 6 has been hit. Thinking about the Yasuo Gragas combination, we've definitely seen Order play it, we've definitely seen Gravitas. I'm blanking right now. I believe we may have seen Legacy play this as well sometime during the split, but in terms of where we've seen it falter, it is like a transition period. That's a flash from Rogue.
It is. Hook lands as well onto Babip. Ryoma goes in for it. Smite as well. Wilder also turning up to the mid lane play, but not going to be a kill. But this is already that pressure being exerted, that roam coming in from Thresh.
Yeah, super ambitious, was off screen, but flash hook, flash flay, looking to get the knock-up started. And I was mentioning just then, it's about the transition. Like the Yasuo Gragas, you can get ahead. Ooh!
Oh, finds him on the last breath off of the body slam there, and Babip gonna feel a bit hard done by off of that play and how those mechanics turned out. Ryoma moving left through the jungle, Mimic also rotating from top side, and you know, Mammoth won't be able to respond to this one.
Yeah, Gragas' belly is big, but maybe not that big. A little bit interesting how it worked out, but yes, going to be another kill going over. Double Doran's blade picked up and an immediate recall into Boots. Straight up through the turret here.
Hookshot flash, Wilder through the tower. Topoon locked in the ultimatum. Doesn't have flash, but actually not enough damage there in the end. And now a response teleport towards the Bombers here. Topoon chasing after. That's a good slam there, but Triple with a huge divide will get this kill into Wilder. Mimic getting chased to tower, stuck on minions. Turn around the tactical swing, but it's not enough to keep him alive. The Triple gets his second.
And in classic Mammoth fashion, they punish an overextended Bombers. They look for that dive, and every single thing went right. CC lands, commit from Mimic, Wilder comes over the back, but straight up miscalculation. They do not have the damage to take down Topoon, and Babip pathing up, Triple with the reset into the teleport, very easily punished. Didn't even have to blow the Azir flash. 2 plates for the Karma. Now CS lead snowballing heavily in the top side, and yeah, Mimic was looking okay after a rough start, but gets slapped back down.
Yeah, that's rough indeed, and we'll watch that again because, yeah, I mean, the combo was clean, but simply just didn't have the damage to finish the kill.
Because remember, I think it's like 40% missing health and then 40% missing health
Mantra,
again.
yes.
Yeah, like Mantra W, so it gets 2 ticks of the health back, and then he has the shields, he has everything available. That was just very clean play, right? Triple comes in, WEQ behind them, Emperor's Divide into the wall, and with no flash, no mobility, nowhere to go, Bombers just get routed.
Yeah, I believe it's 20 and then 20 missing
Oh,
health
yeah, okay,
on
okay.
Karma. From my experience playing tank Karma top lane.
Yeah, okay.
Which I actually think it might be this game,
I
given
actually-
that we have
yeah.
Tabi and Glacial already.
Yeah, I think you're actually right. Like I have 40 in my head because it's like 40
Yeah, exactly.
overall,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that would also be monumentally bonkers. Almost like half your missing HP back
Yeah.
every W.
Or it's still bonkers,
yeah,
you know?
But
'Cause
yeah.
it, yeah,
You saw it.
exactly.
Full Camille combo, full Gragas combo. Yes, pre-runic, but he lived. He didn't flash.
The boy
he
who
didn't.
lived.
He didn't
Yeah.
dodge. Topoon's like, oh, you're diving me? Okay. Mantra W. Hey guys.
Yeah.
QTP. Sure. Okay. Clean him up.
I mean, I've
Easy
been a big
turnaround.
advocate of tank Karma before it was cool, right? For the
Yeah.
longest time.
You're a winter coat and summer sort of guy.
Yeah, exactly. As I am with, full AP Northers, by the way, join me in the LPL. Like, sometimes it comes around and then the person with the information, it's me, and come to me for your weird facts. But, Karma is just very difficult to kill. I mean, like, as dumb as that sounds, like, she has so much regeneration in, like, pretty much every scenario and from very early. We're going to have Bomber starting off this dragon, triple
Slide
stepping
fight.
forwards. Oh! Knocked back mid-flag and drag.
Babib just got flexed on. Wilder hits him with the cast. Zero contest available and a Mountain Dragon to start this one off. That is hugely impactful. Oceans early, yes, useful for the lanes. Infernals, yes, they just give you straight up damage, but a composition I mentioned earlier, like the Yasuo Gragas, it's all about like getting ahead in the mid game and finding an avenue to blow open the map.
Yeah.
Baron is the best place to do it. Mountain Dragon makes that even easier, so Bombers, they need to make things happen early and they're looking for it.
Yeah, can I just talk about the
Feels
mental
nice.
for a second? If you're Babbitt, the amount of times
Yeah.
he's just been kind of screwed by, like, mechanical things in this game. First one was just like he was literally, when I talk about milliseconds, is not an over-exaggeration.
Yeah.
Like, literally probably 0.1 seconds away from that flash completing and not getting killed. Rogue hex flashing over the wall, tries to find the play there onto King. And Wilder, second time, knocks him out of his flag and rack. Like, that just feels awful.
And it is kind of one of those things where League of Legends, it does just feel like when you're on, you're on.
Yeah,
Right? This is one of
yeah.
those games where Wilder is not going to second guess throwing a cast because he thinks he's going to miss. Like, it's a hard one. He's just going to fling it. And most likely it's going to land. Luch.
Babbitt for the full plane to the bottom side. Great damage from the two-shot barrage. Luke unable to block this one. Turns around, petrifies two. Grounded onto Babbitt, but that's the power of Tam Kench.
Yeah, just very smart play there from Mammoth. Ganking a Thresh lane is difficult. He just rips the 80 carry back, but no flash on Rogue. Cataclysm over the top means he becomes the target. Triple just zooms all over the map, gets himself to safety.
Yeah, that's quite some distance
That's
there.
a lengthy one.
Yeah. Mimic just getting harassed down in the top lane, and Destiny appearing in the mid. Tries to get a couple auto attacks onto Ryoma, but he opens up too much distance for him really to get that gobble off. And Wilder,
Yeah.
well, he started this, but it may be finished by Mammoth. Top lane is going to be a 1 versus 1, but Triple, he's on the timer here as Destiny is also coming up to the top lane, but got to back away from this. And Herald is very low here. Will she actually reset? Ryoma onto Triple, goes into the stopwatch, Mimic in from the top lane.
Devour.
Gets a stun out, but the devour is good from Destiny. Moving towards the wall, flashes it. Triple's also out of there. Shelly has reset. King also coming up for the play, but now this is a little bit of an awkward situation.
Yeah, nobody died, not even the Rift Herald. Ryoma. Tornado's going to zone them away. So round number 2, remember a couple of key ultimates gone. Cataclysm, the Azir ulti, not available. Yasuo, Cassio in the same boat. So nobody has anything. It's just going to be a battle of auto attacks.
Yeah, literally every
Aye.
ultimate down from the side of Bombers.
It's going to reset. As
Yeah,
soon
they
as
can't
Wilder
turn it
leaves,
around.
resets.
They can't burst it right now.
Oh.
Manfog going to step forward. Wow, okay. I think that was a Bomber secure.
Yeah, can they get it? It's going to be
Yeah,
the question.
Toppy
Does he
wasn't
in
sure.
for it? He has flash. Camille can close
Shot
some
block doesn't
distance.
Hit.
2 lands. Is it worth an int? Rogue?
I would say yes, right? But it's down to Mimic trying to get through.
No.
3 members just blocking him.
Rogue is still trying. But yeah, recall's coming through.
We've only got a couple seconds left, I believe.
It's so ominous. It's such
It
an
is.
ominous noise.
I mean, that's a sound that you will almost never hear, right?
That's like...
And it also follows you. That's creepy as hell.
Does he take it? Oh, he could have taken the hook
Yeah,
in.
and then gone towards
Like
it. He had
Blade?
flash
Yeah.
as well, actually, so that's possible. And he may actually just die anyway here. Triple gets a good flank off. Not quite, and Rogue does get out alive. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely see it in Rogue, and it's like, do I press it? You know, it's
Yeah.
probably in comms like yes or no, right? Decides not to in the end.
And it was such a weird play, right? Let's just take stock of what happened, because it was Wilder just kind of soloing that one when his lanes had priority.
Yeah.
But Tahm Kench Abyssal Voyage, we always talk about, cheats a little bit of tempo, so he pushes in bot side. Destiny gets himself into the mid lane and starts attacking the Yasuo, but the Yasuo wasn't his objective, right? He wanted to walk towards the Rift Herald, Wilder has to leave, and it looked like one of those situations where whoever started the Rift Herald is going to lose it. They just leashed it for the other team, but weird fight erupts, stopwatch is blown, Devour from the Tahm Kench keeps Mammoth safe, and ultimately kind of nothing happens at the end of the day. Just a couple of minutes wasted in the early game. Here we go.
It's so fast. Wilder, though, knocks him away, and Ryoma can't complete the kill, but both Mammoth members coming into the bottom side, turning on to Wilder, and the Lantern was already taken. Feel like Romus has kind of left his jungler out to die here, as Triple also finds himself in the bottom lane.
Yeah, such a huge commit, and Bombers get punished again. TP from Triple round number 2. Can they actually break the turret? Remember, 14 minutes gone, so no plating, but Shelly normally does the work. This is very squishy at this point in the game, and they have an entire wave to play with. King being left alone. Second Mountain Dragon spawning in just a few seconds. Rogue on the Thresh. Almost lost his life being ambitious towards the top side around the Rift Herald. Still looking for that dragon control.
Yeah, and Mammoth, you know, just kind of speaking towards their strength. Top in the top lane, flash into ultimatum, Mimic underneath the tower. He has the chain locked on, but he can't complete it. That was one more tick of damage and he was dead.
Yeah, and it looks like a little bit of frustration out of Mimic. You can see a little scratch on the back of the neck. Doesn't have his Triforce completed, but this entire lane has just been Camille hookshotting into. Ooh.
That's Hakan.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tahm Kench dissuades it, but Mimic's just been going in. Like, he has to get into melee range to be able to trade, otherwise he's getting bonked on the head, but falling incredibly low just so often here, and yeah, solo turret take at the top side. Just going to break that one with the Karma. Second Mountain Dragon, so despite the plays that Bombers have kind of like forced and been strictly punished in, double Mountain is going to be what they get in return, but the gold lead certainly rests in the hands of Mammoth.
Yeah, well, like, Karma is a very frustrating champion, right?
Yeah.
Like, played in a tank fashion, because she is the queen of attrition. And, like, you can see that in her item builds and how she plays up the laning phase. And it's just frustrating, because it's like playing into Vladimir, but worse because your windows are smaller, right?
Yeah.
Like, you constantly have to grind down this pick and open opportunity for yourself, but then you only have a small time to do it, because if you wait, she presses W and gets 40% of her health back. So it's like, you have to open and then close that window immediately.
Yeah.
So it's not like Vladimir, it's like when he pulls down, kill him. You know, it's like with Karma, it's just like I have 5 seconds before she gets W back.
Yeah, and yeah, super obnoxious. You would kind of expect a champion like Camille, as the game gets onwards, like, all-in threat is what she wants, right? So, like, the War of Attrition, you have the ability to just force, but I guess the name of this game for Mimic is, like, can I get to the point where in the side lane I will have enough threat to be able to deal with him? You expect eventually the Karma to be wanting to kind of group up with the rest of his allies. Like, this is going to be an Athene, or the second item has enough armor, the Tabbies, to deal with him. And then it's a choice of, like, how much AP can I get to be a useful champion, like, in terms of the team sense, and balancing that as against, like, how much armor do you need to deal with Mimic in the side lane. You can see immediately after this one, like, Triforce completed, Mimic goes back, and that was just a huge bonk to the head. So actually dealing relevant damage now, despite the level 10 to level 11.
Relevant damage, but that was just Karma standing in front of tower, where in a lot of matchups, Camille will be like, fantastic, press R, kill.
Goodbye.
Yeah. Where, like, Top Moon stands there and it's like, you can try if you would like, but I'm going to keep hitting your tower. And eventually you can erode these turrets. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Casca's immediately on. Double last breath there for Ryoma, and he will get a double kill to follow. Great play from the Bombers.
Yeah, and you saw King shaking his head, not happy with that one. In the bot side, Mimic actually looking for the all-in here. Turret is there.
This is purely based on what W and E cooldowns are here for Karma, and she had E back, so just runs away from the plate.
Yeah, gonna leave, but Bombers have found so many opportunities for the Yasuo Gragas. That was a very nice one.
Black Drag, Flash, Cataclysm, and Mimic is just 100% dead right here. Tapoon got all of his health back using W, and mid lane, this is just across the board, constant fights. Bottom lane dies, mid lane tower over to the Bombers. Top lane siege coming in from Ryoma as well, with the rest of the team rotating in.
Yeah, and that has to be the 2-for-1. Bombers will absolutely take that. Remember, Mammoth had about a 2,000 gold lead. They had more turrets, they had more plates. They just won a couple more of those early skirmishes, but Bombers turning this one around. We'll see what happened to Triple. Azir has a relevant amount of safety, right? Remember, no Gragas Splash he used at top side. That's just a straight up hook. The Miasma was already down. Just predicts the dupe from Rogue, and that's why he's a Thresh player. Throws out the button, Lands onto triple and nothing you can do by the time the hook lands. Easy cleanup and an easy turret.
Yep, you either are or you're not the Thresh player, and yeah, I mean, it's one of those games where we're talking about like just feeling it, right? Like you kind of have to make Thresh viable, right? Like you've got to have one of those games where you're like, I'm just gonna hit every single hook in this game, and then when you do, it looks great. And Tahm Kench is not there to save you. Currently, that Tahm Kench has Ghost and Cleanse off of his unsealed spell buff. Looking at the gold totals, mid lane is where it is most pronounced. Even with 2 kills, Yasuo is still ahead by a good margin.
Predator popped, King.
Also the flash.
Yeah.
And also the Abyssal Voyage out there. I mean, Bombers are getting a lot from this. And, you know, like the first couple plays, like, were getting resolved. And Mammoth, for me, like, I like to call them, you know, the impenetrable fortress, like the unmovable object, you know, this team that would just absorb all this pressure and then counterpunch. But Bombers just over and over and over and over again were able to do enough where they've opened themselves up. Not a gold advantage yet, but the plays are starting to, you know, resolve in their favor.
They're in a good position, right? 3 threat comp. They have the Yasuo, they have the Cassio and the Camille. They can all go into a side lane. You see right now the deploy is Yasuo top, Camille bot side. He's fine down here unless the Jarvan comes. But now that we have hit that 20-minute mark, Baron is going to be way too much of a draw card to realistically look at BABIP and be like, yes, I can attack the side lane. Like, Camille is just so slippery. She can hookshot away if she has the button. So, yeah, gold lead fairly even, but I believe this is going to be the hardest point of the game here for Mammoth. They right now have the vision control due to a couple of resets coming out, but you can see Bombers pushing in mid lane now, kind of rotating over to try and get control of the worm. Remember, double Mountain and a Cassio Yasuo. IE user, you have just the insane single target DPS that's available from Luch on this Cassio pick. So if they ever find an opportunity to start Baron, it will absolutely get one shot.
Yeah, 100%. A lot of extra damage coming in from that one. Wilder, just watching him looking for another potential play right here. Dives over the wall on control ward. Yeah, I don't think BABIP saw that at all. Throws up the flag to try and search for this Gragas. Still searching. Wilder and Ryoma in tow, trying to find that cask into Last Breath combo.
Yeah. And the problematic thing is, there's not really like instant dashes. You saw what happened with the Jarvan earlier, right? Gets cancelled at the last. Ooh, hold that.
Flag frag. They
No
found
flash.
Rogue, but BABIP is very far removed from the rest of his team right now. King laying down the damage with the Mystic shots. Teleporting response from Bombers. This might actually be all they wanted.
But
now Ryoma on the top side, dodging out Triple's ultimate. While they're getting in range, trying to find this cask, doesn't land. Triple caught out here by Mimic, chasing him down in the top. Ryoma gets his first kill. Destiny now getting chased out into lane. Oh! The buff and ult coming in from Luch over the wall was gigantic and gets 2 kills for the Bombers.
Yeah, they don't need the Yasuo Gragas when Cassio comes over the top. That's 2 deaths from Mammoth. And the big carry threats, all they have is the facilitative members. And that's just going to be Baron. 21 minutes, it's already dead.
Wow.
HP gone, and Bombers find everything.
And that's it, you know, you literally called it 15 minutes ago, like, look for the opportunity to break open the map, and that's definitely it. Get that key fight into the jungle, into Baron, and now Bombers, now I can definitively say have that lead, and now have the opportunity to do what they want.
And think back to the coach interview. Soul Strikes is like giving my team comfort. Like, Luch was a mid laner, now in the bot side. He gets himself the Cassio. He's been playing progressively better and better over the course of the split. And you saw the play right now, right? Mammoth, Triple looking to spit back Ryoma. Mimic hard commits for it, and this was the engage that we're looking for. Didn't quite land, but Luch just takes matters into his own hands, and it is a 4 versus 5. Over the wall, ulti flash onto multiple members. Ryoma gets his own knock-up, nobody else needed, and just clean play on the main champions, and Bombers looking the goods.
Yeah, absolutely. Great play coming out from the Bombers, and it's so consistent, right? There's never any like loss in tempo, and I say tempo in the sense that it's rhythmic, you know?
Yeah.
Constantly going for these plays. Now we've got the next dragon. It's going to be a 3rd mountain dragon in this game as well. Yeah, and this is just absolutely going their way now. Mimic in the side lane feeling a lot more comfortable, was able to step up and finally take down this outer turret. And then Toppin will come back in here and try and be that immovable object, but a lot less effective now than he was, you know, just a couple minutes ago.
And the real question is, what can they do with this Baron? Remember, no AD carry, and now they did use a bunch of flashes to get that fight. And the wave clear actually pretty large here from Mammoth. They have an Azir, they have an Ezreal. They have such a long range to play with, and you can see Bombers are going for like the full map split. Mimic was bot side, now resetting, looking to join, but they were playing all 3 lanes just a few seconds ago, and doing that against a Tahm Kench can be very difficult, and that's probably a reason why they are just looking to group up. When you concentrate the gold lead, you can just throw out a cast and you force the fight immediately. So that's going to be 1 turret. Breaking the base, I think, will be difficult, but given they're actually sticking around at the top side, maybe Bomber's looking for this one. Predator popped.
Yeah, Wilder's definitely searching for it. I mean, if they can get the cask onto members away from the tower and then go in for a last breath, there's a potential, but it's a risky play regardless.
Yeah.
If they were looking just to tap away at the turret, that's probably the best bet. But, I mean, it's enough pressure on the top side where Mimic is actually able just to take an inner turret right there for free.
Yeah, Predator basically just bought the Camille enough time.
Yeah.
Wilder was only looking for the old school, like, mid-lane AP Gragas combo there, right? Like, he sits his Q on the ground and then goes to throw them back into it with his ulti. No knock-up used there from Ryoma. That's a reasonable chunk, but Redemption is going to remove a lot of it, and this turret is falling exceedingly low.
Yeah, it wasn't the explosive start move we were expecting, but still, I mean, if more members don't respond to Mimic, he's going to just take this tower by himself. The true damage applies onto towers, so all he needs is to get up to it once every minion wave, and it's going to be a large chunk away from it.
Yeah, the one problem Bombers are facing right now is that they're just whacking away at the turret. When the waves hit in, like, alternate succession and they're not at the same time, you don't really split Mammoth in every time a wave lands. This is going to be the first one that I believe has matched. Mimic is going to rotate over, though. The turret falling just too low. Mammoth's going to concede that one.
Windwall doing a lot of work right here as well, just allowing Ryoma and Luch to step up, but taking a Mystic shot. King does a lot of damage, and that's something that Bombers have to respect right here. Taking down the inhibitor down to half, but it seems like now with Baron off, he's going to back away.
Yep. Build your own turret.
Yeah.
You lose one, you get one, and yeah, got to force them back, so actually a relatively good Baron play, I would expect, out of this comp. Remember, it is like a very early Baron, only 20 minutes, and the gold lead isn't monumental. A lot of that will be concentrated on the Yasuo here, is basically 3k gold up, and given that none of the knockouts were realistically landing there, Wilder had 2 rotations of ultis. They did get a turret. Without finding the fight, it is hard for them to progress further, and this is probably going to be more of a second Baron game. We're only a minute 40 away from that one, right? This is actually going through very quickly. You can see item spikes are being hit. Triple is incredibly close to the Nashes. King has hit his 3 items. Ardent completed for the Karma. Gargoyle there for the Jarvan. And of course, Bombers are just kind of sitting pretty on multiple levels.
And now is kind of the time in the game where I look at Mammoth and I'm like, okay, how are you stalling?
Yeah.
Because in 9 out of 10 games, that's exactly what they do. At this point where the opponent has about a 4k, 5k gold lead, which is just literally like by the blueprint, Mammoth are able to stop the next play and it just slows down for another 10 minutes.
Ooh.
But are they able to do that against Bombers who have shown their ability to close out games?
Because think about where Bombers were just playing. Top in here. They already had so much vision on the top side, and you saw Mammoth try and wrestle some of that back. They got to their blue buff. They got to their own blue buff camp, and then just got forced out by a Predator pop. Do they commit for this? Mantra E speeds all 3. Mimic's going to have a shot.
Ooh, it doesn't quite find him.
Oh, that does.
Yeah, follows with the Cataclysm, forces the flash. Yeah,
Okay.
it looked, that was weird. It looked like she got bumped by the flag drive, but not the full knock-up after the Babbitt flash. I'm not entirely sure what
Camille
happened
E is one of those weird abilities where you have like the different breakpoints.
Yep.
It's like, have you cast it yet, or are you still casting it, therefore you can buffer through CC?
Exactly.
And then that
it's,
also kind of exists when you're on the wall
yeah.
as well.
It's active frames, wind up and cooldowns, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And her ability is really weird. In
they-
fact, a lot of dashes in this game with Forest range.
Are they FGC terms?
I don't know, but I think so.
I think so.
But
Because like,
they're
I
also very
definitely
applicable.
would never have called it that, but it makes perfect sense. Ooh.
Destiny stepping up here. Yeah, and that flash being down by Mimic, I'm not sure which is worse actually, because Bab, of course, it doesn't have his nor his Cataclysm for this.
Which is rough, and you can see they're struggling to get any priority in the jungle. Mimic is just been left alone. Topoon didn't have TP a few moments ago, and maybe grouping up with his team. Remember, he is a Karma, right? They kind of need that shielding to be able to face check, especially when Babin just used his flash and his Cataclysm. Luch just being left to solo this one out, so last remaining inner turret gets made short work of by Mimic. Not rushing to take down the Baron soon, but that's going to make it even easier.
Just take the Lantern, man. It's so satisfying actually
already-
listening to Twin Flame.
He already has a blue buff, and he's like, "No, guys, I need blue buff."
Yeah,
And
I need the
Rogue's just
refresh.
like, click the lantern, like, please, we need a walk to Baron. But yeah, we'll be fine. Only cost them a couple of seconds.
There you go, I'll take it this time. There needs to be a gold incentive on taking Lantern, like, 3 gold or something inconsequential, but it feels good to take.
Maybe it's like a positive reinforcement, like
Exactly.
it's an automatic thumbs up.
And
alert.
we love our psychology on the
Yeah.
Millennial Cast, so like, why not talk about this one as well?
100%, yeah. Gives you a cheeky one. Cheeky little thumbs up. There was a fairly deep ward that Mimic could TP to. Not sure if it's blue or not. He's in the wolf pit. But this is going to be an engage. Lands onto Wilder.
I mean, that's just going to be the threat. Lantern disengage, and Babip loses his ultimate once again for not a whole lot. I do appreciate the luck, but Bombers has opened up the opportunity for Mimic just to keep on pushing the bottom lane, and Karma will at some point have to match him because there's only one tower left on the ring here, and it's open inhibitors.
TP.
Babip backing away.
Oh, Tar multi. Okay.
Yep. Effectively the same thing.
I thought that was a Camille coming through. The animation was
it looked
slightly
like
red, and I'm just like, Mimic? Okay. But not going to be the case. And I think we've almost seen a similar problem that Mammoth are facing earlier in the Order series. Jarvan is your only source of engage, and the enemy team has disengaged. Every time it's an EQ Cataclysm, this time Rogue is just there with a Lantern, right? Mimic gets himself out with a flash, he has the hook shot. But yes, you did find the Gragas there just at the Raptor camp, and Lantern gets himself to safety, so... Yes, Mammoth dissuading the Baron take. Bombers haven't stepped up to that plate. They haven't found the avenue, but every time they look for a fight, it just looks incredibly hard to actually start it off.
Yeah.
You have that, like, you don't have the second phase of jungler goes in, support comes in over the top of a different champion. You do have the Tahm Kench, and he is only a defensive tool, so finding a fight that they need to start up is difficult here. It does all rest on Babip. Has found himself a cheeky little flank position. If Bombers want to go towards the Baron, Mammoth are baiting them closer. Ooh, does leave the bush.
It's just so tense right now because it feels like the next fight will be pretty blowout for the game. In the bottom side, got a pit going on.
Is this going to be a kill?
Well, unless he one-shots the Karma, no. As you can see.
Yeah, but you can see Mimic was actually underneath the turret. Copped a lot of that HP damage because he was just hitting the turret. Topoon was hitting him, and then he just hookshot over the wall, hookshot over the second one to get himself to safety. Has the Ravenous next time the wave spawns, so given that it is on Topoon's side of the map, he's just playing the War of Attrition as you would expect, goes back to base for his healing, whereas Mimic has the wave, but yeah, Mammoth have actually wrestled this control back very nicely. I was saying they're struggling to find the fight, but given they've situated themselves between the Baron and Bombers, and Mimic isn't realistically making a ton of progress in the side lane now. It's difficult.
Oh, the last breath is on, but the save threat from Destiny as Triple just exits the fight stage left. Good play coming in as well from the Thresh, but everybody's in the Cataclysm. They killed the Jarvan, but there's no follow-up here from Mammoth. Mimic arrives to the play as does Topoon, but now Bombers just going to run it down mid.
Yeah, straight up game of chicken. Can you do the Baron before we take your Nexus? And the recall is actually going to come out. Missing pings onto the Baron buff there from Mammoth. They kind of caught between two different scenarios. Bombers could just stay if they actually look for the Baron, so have to completely recall this time.
Luch getting caught out, but there you go, take the Lantern. Wind wall was good there from Ryoma, and now they can bounce back towards the Baron through vision. However, Wilder is starting this one up, and now it just says, all right, well, you've lost your mid lane inhibitor. Do you want to step up to the Baron once again?
Yeah, and you can see the happy feeding happening on top of Topoon right now. Went back to the fountain, wanted to heal. He's on 25%, but...
Wow, that died quickly.
Yeah.
Triple Mountain onto Baron.
That's it, right? Like, he was looking at it, and someone on the team is like, no, this is going to die too quickly. Before they even got there, that was with the Tahm Kench, just insta-give the Baron buff. Triple Mountain doing work, and now base already broken. Last Baron, they took the turret and topside, so an exposed inhib as well. Bombers have only a couple more things in between themselves and a victory here. Gold lead creeping up as well, approaching that 8,000 gold mark, so definitely in a good position.
So was that the threshold, right? Because we saw Mammoth and there was a good 5-minute stall in the mid lane where Bombers were not taking Baron, they were not really like finishing the game. Yes, they were chipping away at towers in the bottom lane, but it was effectively a stalled out game.
Yeah.
And that was basically Bombers just blasting, Mammoth across the map in a macro play, force them back to the base, take their inhib, go back towards Baron, take that, now move towards the Infernal. And they've managed to overcome that stall here. Is that is that it? Is that now the threshold was
I
broken?
think they're definitely in a very rough position. Context matters a ton, and last time they had Baron, and last time they were knocking on the door of Mammoth's base, no flashes, no nothing. Wilder was just kind of flinging an ulti. If it lands, maybe we get an opportunistic thing, but you saw there was no real force coming out. But now, like, Ryoma has his, Mimic has his, Cassio has his, and you kind of look at a Gragas, very flash-reliant champion, but not necessarily when you have the Yasuo. It's just your ulti that you need, so Bombers, they have themselves a gold lead. They have 5 dragons, all of them pretty good. And they have the summoners to be able to start off this fight. You can see in Mammoth, they're actually looking to concede the top side. They want a fight to happen before they're stuck inside their base, but you can see the barrel just sitting there from Wilder. They have the pink ward. They know where Babip is, and once again, he's the only form of engage for this Mammoth lineup.
And they're getting chased down, though. Makes it over the wall, that flash. Wow, that was literally last second, and King will use his own to secure that kill. Destiny also used his flash to find Mimic, but really, it's what can they find? Triple instant
Grounded
into the Zhonya's, but he's just instantaneously dead. The damage from Luch and Rhyme is massive. Wow, finds a tornado off the backside and blows up the rest of Mammoth. And Bombers, they've done it right there. That play, the teleport onto the tower is not going to cut it. 5-4-1. And Bombers, they give Mammoth a 0-2 week.
And that end just came out of nowhere. Mimic dies in the side lane, and Bombers are looking at the inhib just like, okay, can we take it before we have to recall? But Tommy with the outplay once again, grounded. One member falls down, the Azir dies, and just a flash knock-up. Yasuo just does it all himself, a very clean end. That was a pretty dominant victory. You know, early there were some blunders. I feel like Mimic definitely had a rough game.
Yeah.
They were trying to force a little bit too hard into that Camille, but into the Karma rather. But once they kind of split up the map, got themselves online, and yeah, it was slow but dominant.
I mean, really, who can stop the Bombers now is the next question,
The
right?
Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs is the last one on the list. Because Bombers are making it happen. I mean, yes, it was a 1-1 week from them. Order did manage to pick up that win, but that was kind of the idea we were talking about, like Kryptonite teams, right? But when you're looking against like standing teams and can you beat like the top 3, which was like Mammoth being one part of that triangle. Yes, in a pretty good game as well. You overcome the stalling out from Mammoth.
Yeah.
And then you take the game.
Yeah, because it was really that like one point, like before second Baron, when it's like, like 3 items is hit by Azir, 3 items is hit by an Ezreal, and that does become relatively scary. And it's like they're between us and the Baron. Like, how do we progress this one if Mimic can't make work in the side lane? But yeah, we're able to get access and open that one up. The interesting thing is, you mentioned like who can beat them, the Chiefs. That is actually going to be their last game of Super Week. Remember, week 10, you play 3 teams. Their last game is going to be Chiefs versus Bombers.
Yep.
So that's going to be an absolute banger, rounding out. I don't know what one of the day that is, but yeah, certainly ending this on a difficult one.
Yeah, and that was like my conversation with Rusty as well. It's just like, are we going to go like last day, last game, making like all the difference?
I think the ladder is genuinely shaping up for that, because when you look at like the middle of the pack head-to-heads as well, like if Direwolves are going to look to catch Bombers, they also play them like the end of that week. There's tons of like head-to-head implications when you get towards the end of the season.
Yeah, impressive game from the Bombers, especially into Mammoth Finale. We're going to hear from them as we head over to Nick Boy.
Thank you very much, Pulse. Ryoma, do you like have bad games anymore?
Oh, nah. Just like, this time, I just in the back of my head, I just remembered. Okay, do not die. No matter what, do not die. Just do not die. Do not miss. Just don't miss too much CS, and just play the game.
Do you sometimes forget to tell yourself that, and that's when you die?
Yeah. So sometimes I just get a bit too like cocky. So like I just start like trying to just do plays, and like there's no point.
So you just tempered yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I just need to be a bit more disciplined, and especially against a player like Triple. He's a good player. Like if you're not disciplined, he will really punish that. Like. He's a really good player, so.
And I guess it helped that the comp that you guys are running is like built around you and jungle, executed really well, and apparently because you showed some sort of restraint, these are both my Origami boxes that got thrown at me. I built these upstairs. You must be impressed.
I can't build them, so.
As impressed as I am with your gameplay. Is that how you'd like to be playing moving forward?
I think we found our strengths of the team. As you can see, like that was probably one of our strongest drafts, and I think me and Wilder, we're really strong 2v2 combo. Like I think he's like really aggressive, and I like the same pace of aggression.
Yep.
We like fighting the Raptor camps. Like we like fighting around mid, and we love that. We thrive for that 2v2 mid.
Yeah. And Jake tweeted out yesterday that you are import ready. Do you feel import ready? I guess I'm saying don't leave me.
Nah, I think not yet, but hopefully I can get there soon. I think I still have a lot to work on. I think like individually, I think yeah, there's just a lot for me to work on. When I look at like other mid laners, there's just a lot more discipline, and there's just a bit smarter.
And what do you think has been your biggest improvement this split?
For me, I think since FBI leaving now, he was like the real reason why we won split one. He was a heavy leader, and like it really inspired me to like, man, I really want to do what he just did. Like I really want to do what FBI he just took leadership and he just carried us and just won us, even almost carried us out of play-ins.
Yeah. So
And
that's the role you're stepping into now.
yeah, and just like making sure that like, especially a player like me, I always used to like say till I used to like just like break down emotionally. Like it's just as a leader, you can't like let that happen.
Absolutely.
And you just need to make sure like you're on top of your game. You need to make sure everyone on your team is on top of their game as well.
Dude, well done. We've had nothing but leaders on the couch tonight. Congratulations on the win. Do you like my box?
Yes, I
Phrasing.
prefer a different color though.
We'll be back after this.
Recall into boots. Straight up through the turret here.
Hookshot flash Wilder through the tower. Topoon locked in the ultimatum. Doesn't have flash, but actually not enough damage there in the end. And now a response teleport towards the bombers here. Topoon chasing after. That's a good slam there, but Triple with a huge divide will get this kill onto Wilder. Mimic getting chased to tower, stuck on minions. Turn around the tacticals weak, but it's not enough to keep him alive.
You're right, gets cancelled at the last. Hold that.
Flag frag,
No
found
flash.
Rogue, but Babbitt is very far removed from the rest of his team right now. King laying down the damage of the Mystic shots. Teleporting response from Bombers. This might actually be all they wanted.
Ready to
But now
pop.
Ryoma in the top side, dodging out Triple's ultimate. While they're getting in range, trying to find this catch, doesn't land. Triple caught out here by Mimic, chasing him down in the top. Ryoma gets
he's
his
dead.
first kill. Destiny now getting chased out into lane. Oh! The buff and ult coming in from Luch over the wall was a gigantic flash to find Mimic, but really it's what can they find. Triple instant
Grounded.
into the Zhonya's, but he's just instantaneously dead. The damage from Luch and Ryoma is massive. Wow, finds a tornado off the backside and blows up the rest of Mammoth. And Bombers, they've done it right there. That play, the teleport onto the tower is not going to cut it. 5-4-1. And Bombers, they give Mammoth a 0-2 week.
And that end just came out of nowhere. Mimic dies in the side lane, and Bomber.
You gave me this when we were just 16 years old. Darling, cop up.
A little goes a long way at Macca's. Grab 24 Chicken McNuggets for just $9.95 every day.
That is now Tommy and Swiper on here talking about the growth in leadership, the roles that they want to take on in their team. It's just impressive to see.
Yeah, they're also two of the players that have been around for long enough to want to be in those roles, right? I mean, Spore mentioned Swiper's been here since the beginning of time, and that's true, but Tommy's also now hitting that point as a generational player where he's been here and now there's rookies coming in under him, right? And it kind of forces those roles onto you, but also losing someone that was a leader also does a very similar thing.
Yeah, but I kind of think that, like, and this is, I mean, everyone knows my love affair with DOS is, like, it's a tale of old as time, Starcraft lovers, right? But Tommy wasn't, which is the impressive thing to me.
Yeah.
Like, DOS was always a leader to me. He was always a calming voice. He was always someone that was, like, just unbelievably positive, even when he was intentionally feeding. Like, literally would be jogging down mid lane on Pantheon, but, like, keeping everyone else, like, really, really calm. And, like, but Tommy was, like, not that we celebrate it, he was a table puncher. He was, like,
He
someone
said
that,
he would get tilted and
Yeah.
emotional and he didn't know how to control it.
and like you got him, Vicky or FBI, and Juice all on the same team, all hotheads on Sin Gaming. Trust me, it was a fiery atmosphere, and they got the best out of each other. And then obviously they kind of went their separate ways. And I think that Tommy learned a lot on Chiefs. I think FBI learned a lot from Spooks in particular, because they used to go out on order as well. And now we've seen the best of it come together. Like when FBI went onto that Bombers lineup, I talked to him because I'm obviously very good friends with FBI, and I was like, you're going to have two imports, there's going to be language barriers, and you've got no like leader or captain. And obviously Rogue stepped up in a big way, but then FBI stepped up in a big way, and it's really good to see like Ryoma, that last player of the young Sin lineup, continue and take that step, because that's what like being a grown up is, right? It's being like, I wasn't great back in the day, but now I'm older, more mature, and I can do this. And I think that, that's my impressive thing with Ryoma. That's why I think he's import ready, because that was the last step. Mechanically, he's fine.
Yep.
He can learn how to play the game. Now he's a, really, really good guy and someone that I love chatting to. Like, I legitimately think if you're, like, not that I'm trying to get rid of him, like, but if there's international teams, you've got to look at him. Like, he's a freak.
In the short time that I've been involved in the OPL, I've seen the character growth with him, where he was just sort of like, not trolling, but he was just like, fooling around and, like you said, super emotional about things. But it's that situation, I think, where nature abhors a vacuum. It's like when a leader goes and someone needs to step up, then sometimes, those kind of personalities just need that opportunity to rest.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not everyone does that either. That's the thing, right? Like, there is a chance that Bombers team came together and just crumbled.
Yeah.
But, like, when you know that something is needed and you step up, that's what makes the players so special. That was what made the Bombers so special, to be one split team that wins it all. And that's what could potentially make this next Bombers also be very special, in the same way with Roma now stepping up in the absence of FBI.
And don't get me wrong, I love to troll the Bombers, because I'm a Bombers member, like, for the Essendon Football Club, and they've got two of my players, and like they kind of bought their roster. Like, I love like yanking their chain as much as possible, because it's just hilarious to do. But in all honesty, when you see what they've done behind the scenes, like, this is a team that I'm pretty sure has double gaming house. They train out of the hangar. They have full access to like all of the Essendon Football Club facilities. You talk to Justin Rodsky, who's obviously one of the guys in the Essendon Football Club. He's super passionate and switched on to what's happening into the league. You talk to Nathan, like, he's all over it. They've got a great coach. They've got a great team. This is a team that can legitimately win back-to-back splits. And the investment that they have made into the ecosystem is, like, honestly inspiring. Like, as someone that I've casted every game of the OPL that has ever existed, right? I'm pretty sure. Like, I've not been off, like, the broadcast team. To see a team like that come in and, like, influence and shape, like, an entire region
and help grow
be a leader and, like, behind the scenes be a leader, and then bring up young guys like that and turn them into, like, gentlemen and, like, ambassadors for the sport, and both FBI, Rogue, and Ryoma now, like, cannot say it enough time, like, all three of them. Like, that's inspirational.
I mean, they've been doing it. They've got plenty of practice by doing it through football. That is like the mantra of traditional sports. So it is about doing it here, and we're grateful for it. A bit of a rough one for Mammoth. Obviously, they're still 2 points ahead, but they're, they're probably, they're actually going to be in the top three, so it's not too bad, but it's a bit of a blow.
Yeah, it is a bit of a blow, and I mean, that's the first 0-2 week that they'll have this split, right, if memory serves. Of course, they've been performing so well otherwise, and this is one of those things that is a blip on the radar for Mammoth. It was the two best teams, really, to take them on, and that's what you would expect to say. Like, they were going to get challenged this week, and that was the test, and, like, how will they step up when these teams challenge them? And I'm not going to say complacency at the top, because the teams under them were hungry. But this is my moment for Mammoth. Now they've already gone 0-2. Is what Mammoth do we see next week? Because that's the signs of the team that will win the OPL, if they come back and just smash everyone.
And how do teams play against them next week? Because we've seen a couple of avenues be attacked on Mammoth, mainly through the top lane and a little bit through the jungle, with like things like Karthus and stuff being picked into them. This is the first time this split people have gone at triple. And this was my old favourite way to play into both Direwolves and Mammoth when they've had triple on the lineup. Because if you let triple control the pace of the game, you lose.
Yeah, you
Stevens
just pick on the top dog.
The best 25-plus minute mid laner in the league. So what do? You pick something that beats him in 12, and then you just go with it. And, that's exactly what they did. I keep talking about this keystone blueprint, like whatever you want to have. Like, if I was a coach, that's how I'd play it against Mammoth. Like, and I think I've demonstrated it before. Like, you go at triple, you're not going to win every time, because he's a great player and he's going to be able to rebuff some of those attacks. But I think you do it enough, you do, like, get some advantages, and that was what we saw today. And I think that that's something